So we are back. It's Tuesday. So we're going to do another live stream today. And I have a special guest. So I'll be bringing him in a second. We're going to be talking about dating abroad or meeting women abroad, how to do that. And this gentleman's been out and about. He's traveled a lot to Colombia, and he's got a lot of experience when it comes to how to meet women out there. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we'll wait a few minutes for some people to come in, and go ahead. If you guys get in here, just let me know you're here by just saying hello or giving me a thumbs up in the chat, so I know you're here and I can give you guys a shout out. So we'll be on for probably about an hour. We'll kind of work it from there. What's going on, David? How you doing? Rolo, what's up? World Walker, what's up? So yeah, as you guys come in, just let me know you're here, and hit the like button as well so we can promote this to more people, have more people come in. So like I said, yesterday we had some issues, but we've resolved those issues. So now we'll be able to do this live stream. And this is one of those deals that was bugging me. The fact that, that I wasn't able to do the live stream yesterday. So now I wanted to bring it back. I told Jason, hey man, let's get this going, because we had a real good audience yesterday that was wanting to see this, and unfortunately we couldn't bring it out the way we wanted to. So now we'll be able to do that. So like I said, just as you come in, just let me know you're here. What's going on, Will? And then we'll get this ball rolling momentarily. So as far as just a little housekeeping stuff, Facebook group. I do have a Facebook group. It's a Travel Explore Click group. So you can just type that in the search, like go to Facebook, and you'll get information about that. I also show both my Instagram as well as Jason's Instagram on the screen, so you guys can check out our Instagram. Definitely go over to Paisagringo. It's Jason. Go over to his Instagram and check it out. He's got a lot of good pictures on there. Sugar Skull, what's going on? And so the way we're going to work this is we'll bring him in, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. If you guys have questions, if you guys have any questions, just put it in the chat. I have this new little feature on here where I can bring up the question, just kind of like that. All right. Now we might not be able to get to everyone's question. If you guys have questions that are kind of not what we're the topic, so travel credit cards, stuff like that, we're not going to be answering those today. We'll hold that off until Saturday, and then you can ask the question then. But I will pull up some questions if you guys have them, and we'll kind of showcase them like that, or like this. So anyway, let's see who else we have. Dolly Yamas, what's going on? All right. Okay, so without further ado, we will bring in, what's going on, Tay? We're going to bring in Jason right now. So what's going on, Jason? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, David. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you were able to. I feel really bad about yesterday, so that's why I said I wanted to get you on as soon as possible, because we had some people that really wanted to hear you talk yesterday, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So let's go ahead and do it today. And you were willing, and I really appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about travel. So how long have you been traveling? What, just like the major destination that you've gone to, and like when did you start traveling out of the country?
All right. Well, I guess my first time out of the U.S. was actually to Okinawa, Japan, when I was in the United States Marine Corps. So that was in 2003, and that had an effect on me. That was the first time I experienced vehicles driving on the opposite side of the road. Very cool, very interesting. Culture shock. I mean, I'm on the other side of the world, 13-hour time difference. And real quick, when I was growing up, a big majority of my friends are Colombian or Hispanic, and that's just based on where I live in New York. And here in New York, we are free the summers, June through September. And I remember early on, a lot of my Colombian friends, they would go back home for the summer. And I was always told I could not go there. So,
and this was during what years?
This was during high school. This was middle school, high school. We would get out for the summer, 3 months, and they would go they go back home to visit family, things like that. I remember as a 13, 14-year-old, I had some summers where my friends weren't around because they went back home, and I always naturally I would want to go, and I was told not by one party but by both their family as well as my family that it wouldn't be safe for me to go certain places.
Got it. Got it. So you start going, you start traveling, and or when did you start traveling? I guess I know my audio might have gone out a little bit.
No, no, yeah. Really, I started traveling, I guess, for myself. In the Marine Corps, you're kind of voluntold where you're going. For myself, I'm gonna say about 2003.
Okay. Okay. And where did you go in 2003?
I went to Colombia. I went to Medellin, Colombia.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, that's right. That's right. And you went. You went. I'm a little distracted because I was trying to fix some other stuff. So I'm trying, I apologize, brother. So yeah. So you went to Colombia for the first time, and then you start going back to Colombia over and over again. So what really sparked your interest? What did you really like about Colombia?
Oh wow! All right, so I'm I'm about 40 minutes outside of Manhattan. I'm in White Plains, which is in Westchester County, New York. I was born here at White Plains Hospital. I'm currently now living 5-6 minute drive from White Plains Hospital, where I was born.
Mhm.
So it was another culture shock to be in Colombia. I saw these mountains, and this the people are so friendly and so happy. And it's no wonder why Forbes and Travel and Leisure, they do their happiest places in the world, and Colombia's in like the top 5. It's like every
Mhm.
year. It's a lot of friendly people. Just the scenery, like being surrounded by mountains. It was talking specifically Medellin. The weather was great, food was great. There's an energy about the city of Medellin. There's an
Mhm.
energy about Colombia that I've seen, because
Mhm.
now I've bounced around a bit. There's the energy, and it rubs off on you, and it's hard to get off of you. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it left a mark on me, and it has become my happy place.
Mhm. Yeah, and you know what's funny because I tell people the same thing. Like the first time that I went to Colombia was back in 2008, and there's something about it. Like when I stepped off that plane and I was with a couple of buddies, I just felt real comfortable there. And my buddies, they didn't. I mean, they liked it, they enjoyed it, but it wasn't one of those deals where they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to go back. I can't wait to go back." But with me, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but it made me feel really at home, and I was ready to. I wanted to come back, and it took me a while. It actually took me about 5 years before I went back, and then after I went back that time, then I went back again, went back again. So it was real. It was one of those deals that I don't know. I don't know what I can't explain it. Just kind of like the way you were saying, I can't really explain it, but it does do something. So as far as women, how long have you like been meeting women or dating women in Colombia? Or do you do that exclusively, or do you still date women in the States, or what's
Yeah,
your take
I,
on
I,
that?
I still date women in the States. I I'm an outgoing person. I'm an extrovert, so I like to make people laugh. People tell me I'm funny. I like to have a good time. So yeah, organically it happens here and there. Um, if I had to say actively, I am pursuing a Colombiana. So
Mhm.
that could be here or there. I dated Colombians in Colombia. I dated Colombians here in New York. Um, I dated one in Florida for a while.
Mhm. So so you said you're actively. So this woman in Colombia right now, or is she in the States?
The one I'm talking to right now is in Colombia right now.
Oh, she is in Colombia. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And so how did you guys meet? How did that work out?
I met her on Colombian Cupid.
Colombian Cupid. Okay,
Of,
so let us
of,
know.
of
Tell us
all
about this
places.
Columbia Cupid. What'd you say?
Of all places.
Well, so tell us about Columbia Cupid for those of us who don't like. I know about Columbia Cupid. I've been on there before, but maybe some
Right.
of the people in our audience they don't know about Columbia Cupid. Tell us about it.
All right. So Colombian Cupid is there's a company called Cupid Media LLC, and they just have dating websites for almost any genre you can think of: military fathers, single parents, Iran Cupid, Japanese Cupid, Korean Cupid, Colombian Cupid, Dominican Cupid, anything like that. So around 2000, and this had to be around 2003, right? Or four, right when I got back from my first trip to Colombia. Now, the very first Colombian girlfriend I had, I met her organically in Colombia through friends. That's how a lot of things happen naturally. But I found myself back here in the States, and I was just online, and I was just Googling Colombian girlfriends. And at this time, I just kept finding a lot of like mail order bride things. And that's,
and I want to ask you about that, because that's something that we don't really talk about in the WhatsApp group. What's your take on that? These mail order bride thing?
Not my thing. Not my thing. And like I said, when I first started searching, that's all I was coming across. Because the Spanish word for girlfriend is novia, but novia can also mean fiance. So I was getting into a lot of websites where, and these are kind of, these mail order brides are kind of designed for people with an upper echelon pay scale. So they were big bucket, they were big ticket items. It was like $1,200. Flight was included, but you got a meet and greet at a hotel where you do like a speed date. I wasn't looking for that. No, that's not my thing. I just think that that's too rushed. It's too, I mean, one of my train wreck shows I can't not watch is 90 Day Fiance. It's just,
I knew you were gonna make that up.
Like some of these guys, this one guy's like spent like 40 grand on this chick from Ecuador, and oh my God.
It's funny because I'd never watched that show before, and then you start mentioning in the WhatsApp group. So if you guys don't know, we have a WhatsApp group. This is Ace Live started a WhatsApp group, and so a lot of us are all in this group, and that's where I met Jason. But you started this you started this whole 90 Day Fiance, started talking about it. I'm like, what is this show all about? I've never heard it before. And so I caught a couple of episodes, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy, man. I don't see how people do this, but anyway,
it's so oblivious. And then the crazy thing is, okay, so with Colombian Cupid, so many people on the 90 Day Fiancés, whether it's India or wherever, they've met on one of the Cupid media sites. So even in my Colombian Cupid profile, you'll get messages asking you, do you want to be on 90 Day Fiancé? Do you want to be considered? And I'm just like, hell no, like absolutely not. But yeah, as far as the whole mail order thing, that's not me. That's for someone who's like, they're well established, they already have kids, they don't want more kids, and the man or woman who's outside of the US, they're looking to come here to better their life, and that's not what I'm about right now. But just do due diligence. I come across the site Colombian Cupid. So just so the viewers can see, I'm just gonna pull this up on my phone. I screenshotted it earlier, so I hope the viewers can see. Right there is my current membership is gonna expire in August of this year. Now I'm going up a little bit. My historic membership, the very first time I paid for Colombian Cupid was in August of 2009.
Wow.
So I've been on Columbia Cupid for 10 plus years.
Yeah, wow. And so let's talk about, we'll talk about Columbia Cupid first, and then we'll move into kind of like when you're actually in Colombia. But so Columbia Cupid, what are some of the positives and what are some of the negatives of Colombian Cupid?
All right, so in 2003, 2004, I met someone who was very near and dear to me. She was an orthodontist. She works on teeth, professional. She had a daughter. At this time, her daughter was 5, and I was with her for about 9 years. Now, this time, 2003, 2004, we had MSN Messenger. Now, she had 3 or 4 other siblings and or nephews in the house, so their time was allocated on the computer. So it's like I couldn't. It was a lot. It was difficult. We talked. We saw each other on camera when we could, but we would pretty much communicate through emails, and that was it. We communicate through emails, and then I had MSN Messenger, Windows Messenger, and she might tell me my brother's using the computer, he'll be done in an hour, and then we can see each other, and we did that. So it wasn't as easy back then.
Mm-hmm. And so what about some of the negative stuff that you see on Columbia Cupid right now? I mean, is it like the platform that you would go to meet women in other countries?
I would. There are a lot of good people out. There are a lot of good people out there. You're gonna have to weed through. There's some that are out there just to entertain themselves. There's some people out there just they're passing time. They're just curious. They heard about it because they play about Colombian Cupid and Latin Cupid on the radio in Colombia. So they hear about it. They want to see what it's about. Or they heard from a girlfriend or a cousin or a brother that they met someone and they want to see what it's about. So you gotta, if you're looking for something serious, if you're looking to just date, so some of the negative stuff is there are some people that'll just play with your emotions. There's some people that are really just not about anything serious. They're just there to pass the time. That's really the negative part. There are just some people out there with not the best of intentions on the Cupid pages.
Got it. And so what would you like? And I actually have one question I was thinking about while you were talking. Do you know how like the women get on Columbia Cupid? Are they paying are they paying just like we're paying to get on the service, or are they
2%?
The same cost?
2%.
What is it?
2%.
2%.
Yeah,
maybe what we pay.
No. maybe even less. I'm just talking about women in general. It's the same price. From what I understand, it's the same price. It's converted into Colombian pesos. So same thing. You got your standard, you got your gold, and you got your platinum. Now, someone has to be a paid member. What I'm saying, 2% is like literally like out of 100 women, it's probably less. Out of like 200-300 women, I might find one that's a gold member or platinum member that they have paid, and therefore even if I'm a free member, I can contact them and they can read it.
I see. Okay.
So to me, that's so they have to pay. Now, red flag, green flag, I kind of look at that like, okay, they came out of pocket to be on here, so maybe they're looking for something. So I kind of put that in the okay column. Let's move forward.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges though? So just online in general, but we'll talk about Columbia Cupid right now. What are some of the challenges that you've seen as far as you get on there, you see a girl, you send her a message? What are some of the challenges?
Just getting lost in the whole thing. If she's fairly attractive, if she's come on, Colombian women are some of the most beautiful women in the world. So for the most part, pretty much a good majority of these women are receiving hundreds and hundreds of messages. So that's a downside. You almost gotta send the message while she's on. Like, you gotta hope she sees it, because if she goes to bed and wakes up one morning, she's got 130 messages and your message 96. By the time she checks the first 4, she's probably just gonna log off and she's not gonna see your message. I've had it where I see like the green light, which means she's online currently, and I'll send the message there. Or sometimes I'll just say, "Hey, ¿qué más? ¿Cómo vas? ¿Qué cuenta de nuevo?" Just something to say, hey. But when she sees that, she'll see my previous message that I sent her like 2 weeks ago, and then she'll kind of like start. It's happened, not all the time, but they just the guys are really overwhelming, and they get a lot of messages. It's hard to get through. That could be a negative part. Trying to convince them that you're different. Okay, this is the thing with Colombia. This is the thing with pretty much most of this, just whether it's Tinder or whatever. The girls think that the guys are looking for sex, and the guys think the girls are looking for money. And until you open up and be honest with each other about what it is you're looking for, it ain't gonna work. Yeah. Because you coming in with weighted gloves. You already know what you think you know, and it don't matter after that.
Yeah. And so when it comes to that, so when it comes to like convincing them, like, and another thing too, like when it comes to convincing them, and when you're on there, are you setting up a game plan? Because you go to Colombia all the time, right? And I know
Yes.
we're talking about Colombia, but this is where his experience is. You go to Colombia a lot. Now, are you on Colombian Cupid just the whole year, or do you kind of start really jumping on Colombian Cupid right before you go? Like, how do you set that up?
I used to do like 3-month blocks, because the 3-month block gave you the best bang for your buck, because if it worked out to like buy 2 months, you got 3 months. So you bought 2, you got 1 free. My best friend, he used to buy the year. He used to buy 12 months. Boom, like $100 and something. Like he's done for the year. The thing is, when it happens all the time, when a girl on Columbia Cupids, they think you're a good guy. They think they got you. After a few days, they'll start to press you to get off the page. They'll say, well, if you're happy with me, why are you still on there? They want you to delete your profile. They want you to put it inactive. A lot of times they won't put theirs inactive. And I've seen it on 90 Day Fiance as well. Same thing. They'll say, and this was like some chick in the Philippines, so it doesn't matter where in the world. She says, oh no, I'm just checking to see if you're on. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Like you're not. You're continue to do your thing, just as I'm continue to do my thing. But to get what you're saying, now remember, this is 2009. I'm very new. 2009, 2010, very new to Columbia Cupid. I found out that if you get in too early, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, because you get into a routine where it's good morning, how are you, how did you sleep, how's work, how's your morning, how's your lunch, have a good day at work, this, that, and the third. And it becomes that Groundhog's Day. You're asking the same questions every day. How did you sleep? You start to lose things to talk about. So it was brought up in the WhatsApp group. Some people say, you know what I do? I get on like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before I go out there, because you got just enough time to get them interested. And then it's like, well, hey, I'm on the ground in 3 days. And then it's that interest is there. And not only is that interest there, it goes to almost like another level. Like now it's like, I'm going to see you in person, where 3-6 months out. Now, this is the thing. I read some of the testimonies, people that have gotten married, and they said they met them on Columbia Cupid and they talked just for internet for 8 months, because he just wanted to make sure she was with him for him, and to each their own. Yeah, if you can keep the conversation going for 8 months, and it's a lot easier now that Facebook has bought WhatsApp, and you could do FaceTimes almost just out of the blue. Like I get the girl I'm talking to currently now, she FaceTimes me just out of the blue. I feel like there's some like quote unquote proper etiquette where you always like give someone a heads up, like, hey, what's up? Can I call you right now? Or you ask permission. This she should just call. Like my phone will start ringing and it's a video, and I'm just like, I'm in Sam's Club right now. Like, yeah. But the thing is, like, I take that as a test too, and you don't not want to answer, because that makes same thing we talked about in a WhatsApp group too. Test them, send them a random just video call and see if they answer. If not, why not? So I took that into consideration. I answered on WhatsApp, and I said, hey, you know, my best friend I was talking to you about, here, look, we're in Sam's Club, we're buying stuff for a barbecue. So I don't have a great answer for that. If you got to get the gab and you got a real connection, maybe you guys can really talk 8 months out and really build a real good connection. So that way, when you get there, you're good. And then maybe there might be a certain situation, or the person is in a certain, you guys are just in a certain relationship where it's like, you know what, I just want to kind of talk to her and do the very basic, this is what I do for work, this is where I live, this is who I live with, and hey, I'm going to be there in 2 weeks, and then we can see each other in person and talk about all this other stuff.
Yeah, that I've seen that as well. If you guys are in here right now, please hit the like button. We'll take a second too and give some more shout outs. We got some super chats. Thank you, HD Chillin. Thanks a lot for the super chats. Sugar Skull, thank you for the super chat. Actually, thank you for both the super chats. Tay, what's going on, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. All right, so yeah, as you guys are just hit the like button, please, if you haven't done so already, so we can bring more people in, and we'll continue this discussion. Now, if you guys have questions for Jason, please put it in the chat, and I will pull up some questions. So if you have anything that you're interested in learning about, just dating abroad, mainly we're talking about Colombia because that's where his experience comes from. But if you guys have questions, I think we can kind of, I'll screen the questions out. So if there's something that I think that's really good, then we'll put that in there. If it's not related to Colombia, basically just put your questions out there. We'll go from there. I'll try to make it too difficult. All right. So you do the Colombian Cupid thing. Have you seen some issues like with just online dating? So we can say Colombian Cupid. Are there any other websites that you use to meet women?
I've used Badoo in the past. Badoo. It's kind of like a MySpace or Facebook, kind of something like that. I've used that in the past, like very briefly. I don't use it anymore. I'm not even sure if it's that popular. At one point, it was really popular in Colombia, and I think that's why I went over there. But we're talking like maybe 05, 06. I don't have a Facebook. I've never had Facebook. So when the whole Tinder thing was being talked about everywhere, you needed Facebook to get Tinder. And up until maybe 6 months ago, I just realized, oh, you don't need Facebook to have Tinder anymore. So I did that, and I did the passport to wherever. So I kind of just popped around Medellin and Colombia. And it was okay. I just like Colombian Cupid because me personally, I like to just search for people that don't have kids. Tinder, you can pretty much do an age range and a distance, and that's pretty much it. And that's just my own personal reasons. I've had some issues like dating women with kids in Colombia. I have a sister, I have nephews, and grandma has never had a problem watching the kid. I invited a girl from Medellin 2013 to Cartagena, and it was this whole thing like, I got to leave my mom money to watch my kid. I need money for my kid for food. So I bought your plane ticket. I paid for your hotel. Like, I'm taking you to Cartagena. Like, can you just take care of home? And it became some extra thing where it's like, all right, now I got to make sure the kid is set up. And I did it, but it just left a little bad taste in my mouth. And since then, I kind of I filtered down in Columbia Cupid, no kids, and this is what I'm looking for. And Tinder, you can't do it.
All right, so let's talk about this whole money thing, because you just kind of brought that up. Do you see that a lot? Like, if you get online and you meet women, or even if you're out there and you meet women, do you see this whole money thing as an issue where you have women that are asking you for money for things like that, for babysitting or for just random things? What's been your experience when it comes to that?
More than not.
More than not, huh?
A lot more than not. A lot more than that. Okay, so me and my friend were talking. He said we should send Colombia or Cupid Media. We should send them an email saying we should have a filter option on people that have visas to the United States. That would be a good filter option, because most people, at least most of the Colombians that I know, women that have visited, they have a visa. They were fortunate enough to visit New York, Texas, or Florida. They get it. It's been a long 30, 40, 50-year myth that in Colombia, if they're in the United States, they got disposable income. We're flush with cash. We're just flush with cash that you want to marry a gringo. You never have to work a day in your life after that. Just flush with cash. And it's not the case. Some of the ones that's come on over on a visa, and this is one maybe I took you out to Hard Rock Cafe. It's now closed in Medellin. I took you out to Hard Rock Cafe in Medellin. Oh, now you went to Hard Rock Cafe and Fort Lauderdale, and you see the difference in how that tab worked now. Especially when you want to bring alcohol drinks into it. They kind of get it. So what it is they think you just got more money than you know what to do with. So I've been in a situation where I was talking to a nurse. She made decent money. Yeah, I get it. Even as a nurse, you're not going to make nowhere near as much as a nurse here would make. but you're making decent money as compared to the minimum salary in Colombia, and you would get the sob stories. I've heard them all. In full transparency, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm glad to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me. 2009, you saw the receipt. My first year, 2 years on Columbia Cupid, I fell for the okie doke. I'm here to tell you, don't fall for the okie. They will pull at your heartstrings. I've gotten pictures of empty refrigerators. I've gotten pictures of, you've seen them, IV in the arm. I've gotten pictures of, I got the sob stories of the lights is out. The main chick that I told you I met early on when her daughter was 5 and I stayed with her for 10 years. It got to a point towards the end where she was telling me they were having problems with EPM. EPM is like the lights and service people, PSEG, Con Edison, so forth. So me and this little girl formed a bond, and she was taking advantage as far as to say, oh, you can't talk to her right now because the phone's not working. And yeah, I sent some bread down there to get the services back on. There was this one chick I was talking to early on in maybe 09, 010 in Cartagena. She made me to believe she was dying from heat. Now, one thing, if you ain't been to Cartagena, the sun in Cartagena is a different sun. It's hot. But I sent them money for an air conditioner. I was young and I didn't know the game. I didn't even know there was, in 2010, 2011, I didn't know there was a thing as a Western Union poppy. I didn't know it. This chick, she had people, she had family in Florida. So she had, I'm gonna take you back. She had the Magic Jack. So she had a 305, a south of Miami Beach phone number. So we would talk like every night and it was all good in that. And you know, it just seemed like every time almost every week there was a problem. And then the only thing that would fix the problem was money. And it just over the years, I just gotten smarter. But yeah, there's some that I get it. They're out of work. They don't work. And there's a lot of red flags we could talk about. First of all, now if you're in your 30s and you still talk about I'm a student, flag. I had this one chick. She called me on a WhatsApp. This was like maybe right when WhatsApp started doing the face calls, and she called me, makeup done to the 10, makeup, eyes, everything. She talked to me for like 5 seconds, like little low crop thing, things pushed up, like. So this is what I'm saying. They know what they're doing. She put me on the FaceTime for like 5 to 10 seconds and then hung up. And I said, obviously, what happened? Like, you looking good? Oh, my datos ran out. I don't got no more datos. Can you send me a couple of dollars to get more datos? If you was a simp, you send the $20 so she could go buy more datos.
Yeah, and what's datos just for everyone?
Yeah, okay. Here in the US, like, you know, we pay like $99 Sprint, T-Mobile, whatever, AT&T, unlimited. In Colombia, it works kind of different. You got minutes and you have datos, which is like, that's really like your internet. A lot of times there's paquetes, there's packages, which will include minutes, and then it'll include social media packages, which will be FaceTime, WhatsApp, and sometimes they'll be unlimited, things like that. So usually when I'm in Colombia, I got Wi-Fi in the house or the Airbnb. In the streets, I don't make that many phone calls, really hardly ever. So normally what I do is usually my MO is I land in Bogota. I go to my same spot in the airport and I'll just get like $10,000 worth, 10,000 pesos, sorry, $3, 10,000 pesos worth of minutes. And then I'll give them like 50,000 pesos and be like, yo, that's datos. I need like the most MBs you can put out because that's what I do. I'm just pumping internet. I'm pumping WhatsApp and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move a little forward. So we've talked a lot about the online dating and stuff like that. But let's say boots on the ground. What's been your experience as far as meeting women, like boots on the ground? Where do you go? And how do you go about that?
Man, boots on the ground. All right. For years and years, ground base has been always Parque Jettas. That was it. Before Federico, who's the mayor now, before then, the previous mayor, we used to buy the magnums of Ciroc. I'm talking the $70 bottle of Ciroc, the Magnum, the 1.75. We would buy those, tequila. We would pregame in the my friend's apartment in Envigado. We would go to the Parque Jettas, and right there, if you know, right in front of the Jettas Mini Mart, there's a statue. That's where everyone meets, right in front of the taxi stand. We would have the big magnum of like Coco Ciroc, and we would buy, I think, a can of pineapple juice, and we would just make drinks. And as like women will walk by, we ask them, hey, you want a drink? Da-da. And sure enough, they will come over, we make drinks, da-da-da. Also, this is the time, 2013, 2014, tradition, Colombian tradition. Navidad, Christmas, you make sancocho in the street. So you put your yuca, your potatoes, you put the beef and all that stuff, and you cook it right there in the street. In the pot, you got the wood stilts underneath, and you cooking it. New mayor came in, he wanted to clean it up. So now, hard liquor, those big bottles, Jettas, cops are they're gonna stop you. They're gonna mess with you. Beer, so they're really not messing with you if you got a beer or something like that. But they've cracked down on that. They've cracked down on the cooking in the street, the sancocho. These are Colombian traditions for years and years. Damn, I forgot your question. What was the question, Dave? I went about
boots. Yeah, boots on the ground. What? How do you usually go out and
right.
and meet women?
So that was it. That was the Parque Jettas, because that's where everyone went. That's where the gringos went, and therefore that's where. Now I remember even around Itagüí, Majorca, where we go to the movies, and going 2 or 3 times a year, I've seen an increased police presence, and that's a good thing because they understand now that tourist dollars is good for the economy. You got to keep the tourists safe, so they put more police on the ground. Mm-hmm. So it always used to be Parque Jettas, and it used to be Autopisto. If you don't know about Autopisto means highway, and the highway that runs north to south. There's a part of the Autopisto where there's a club called Mongols. Mongols was world famous for years and years and years. But right next to Mongols is Chiflados, and next to Chiflados is Jesus Dio Mio, My Sweet Jesus. Great clubs, great bars, because they had entertainment. Like they would play music and everyone would dance, but then they would have a show where they would stop and women would get up on stage, and they had costumes and they would dance, and then some guys would get up on stage, and these are like buff dudes, and they would dance and do their thing. And then meanwhile, while all that's happening, you got like some guy dressed up as like a patient in a hospital. He's walking around the club, and he's got like a big garrafa, the big bottle of the aguardiente, as an IV in his arm. He's got the little pole walking around, and like it looks like vodka's going to his arm and stuff. And people would take pictures with them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of died down. Those are great places to just meet women, things like that. Now, boots on the ground, La Setenta. A newly recent place if you guys look at my Instagram, when I was just there in April, is at the stadium. Every Sunday morning, they have exercise, like community exercise, where there is a city representative that comes out and do dance classes, and there's speakers and there's music, and they're dancing reggaeton, bachata, but it's just to get people moving. You might have seen pictures or videos on YouTube where, like in China and Asia, before the workday, the whole factory will do like these little exercises, and it's like that Sunday morning in Estadio. And that's a great place to meet women, because there's a lot of people. They're very health conscious in Colombia as a whole, especially in Medellin. So Sunday morning, you go down there, they're dressed in their exercise stuff. They're out there, they're dancing, they're burning a sweat, and that lasts a couple hours. And then after that, everyone goes to eat salpicón, which is just papaya, piña, pineapple, fruit. It's just fruit salad with a little caramelized milk. And I mean, great place to meet someone.
Okay. And so any other places? I mean, have you gone to like malls and stuff like that, or what's been your experience with going to malls and meeting women, or just walking up on the street? Like I've done that before, where I'm lost. Can you help me find this place here?
Absolutely. That may or may not work too well in, let's say, Itagüí or Envigado or Sabaneta. But if you're in Poblado, I've been to Bogota twice. I would assume it'll work in Bogota as well. Basically, especially in Poblado, you got the Milla de Oro. That's the Golden Mile. That's pretty much where, if you've been to Medellin, Centro Comercial Santa Fe, the shopping mall Santa Fe, And if you start walking straight up, you'll get eventually to the Church of Poblado. That they call it the Milla de Oro because the Golden Mile is just full of banks. There's a restaurant, there's a McDonald's, a Burger King, but it's mostly banks and just office buildings. And there's a lot of English-speaking people there. I speak fluent Spanish. I use it as a pickup tactic. If you're around some Colombian women and you think they're cute, I speak fluent, and so do some of my friends. And there's been times when I've been in Medellin and I'll just start speaking in English, and they're kind of like looking at me like, "Why are you speaking in English?" And then all of a sudden, we got eyes on us, and that's why.
So what has been? So that's a good point that you bring up. So you speak English, even though you speak Spanish, you speak English, and what kind of impact does that have? Like, why do you think there's a draw there?
Because for more or less, it makes you exotic. Like, it's Medellin, Colombia. Everyone's speaking Spanish. Now, tourism has been on the rise. Listen, 2003, my very first time in Colombia, I was so excited to be there. We got to Itagüí. We got to the apartment building of my best friend's family's building. We put the bags upstairs. I was so hyped to be there. I said, let's go right now to the liquor store. We went and got 2003. I'm 6 foot. My best friend, he's Colombian. He's about 240, 6'1", Yankee fitted in 2003. We're only a block away. The cops come past us on a dirt bike. Guy on the back's got the Uzi. They're looking at us, and I could just hear how the bike. They made a U-turn anyway. They told us to put our hands on the wall. They searched us. We just looked so out of place, man. Long story short, with that one, I had my military ID on me. They said I was a spy. I came in the country illegally. Like I had to show my passport was in the house. I didn't have any identification other than that. Like we're literally there for like an hour, and my best friend's aunt comes out cursing at them like, "I'm from the U.S. You know, you just don't talk to police like that." But she's like, "Gonorrhea, wey puta, like you motherfucker." Like it was bad, and I was like, "You can't talk to the police like that," but she was. Ever since then. Now I carry a copy of my passport, kind of like how you do. Not even now, like you say, you always carry one in the cloud as well. But now I'm saying I just said that to say this. I see now Australian backpackers everywhere, Germany backpackers. It's changed a lot. But with that said, being in Centro Comercial Santa Fe or just wherever, if you just kind of just blurt something out in English like, "Yo, so where we going for lunch?" I'm telling you, like, it'll turn heads, like who's speaking English and why are they speaking English, and they want to see who you are, and yeah, and then after that, if you see someone look at you, then you move in like, "Hi, I'm lost. Do you know how to?" And I know exactly. Yeah, I mean, you got to use that to your advantage. Like you play the card you dealt.
And how receptive do you think Colombian women are to Americans? Like, is it easy to talk to them? Do you find that they're standoffish or shy? Or are they kind of, give you the cold shoulder? What has been your experience?
No, you have to. No. You're very, very approachable. Very approachable. You still got to be a little, what's the word? Not too, man. All right. So quick example. I was in a centro about 4 years ago, and I was dating some of the chicks. She was a nurse. I don't know. Like everyone's like studying nursing or dental, but I wanted to surprise her, and I wanted to like buy her like a new pair of scrubs because I saw she only had like 2 pairs of scrubs and she kept alternating. So I wanted to buy a pair of scrubs, and I knew there was a place in the centro where nurses go to buy scrubs. So I tried to ask like 2 or 3 group of girls in scrubs to like, "Hey, you know where a place where I could go buy scrubs?" And as soon as I was like, "Yo, perdón," like they kind of was like, "Don't talk to me." Like they thought I was trying to sell them something. It was really like that. So I kind of like wasn't. Not say aggressive, but I was just like, "Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not from here," and they stopped right in the tracks and they talked to me. So when I tried, now this is one example where I tried to talk to them in their native language, and for whatever reason, maybe they thought I was Colombian, and they didn't want to have anything to do with me. I approached them a little more like, "Hi, I'm not from here, I'm from New York," and that worked. But for the most part, if you are American, they want to know why you're there. Are you studying? Do you live here? Do you have family here? It's good. It's good. even if your Spanish is somewhat decent, maybe downplay it. It depends on the situation, but I think they're intrigued. Like, why are you here?
Yeah. What other things like I know when I went to Carnaval just a few months ago, dancing is like it was huge. Like it's a real big thing out there. What are your takes on that? Is that an easy way to meet women? How do you know how to dance, like salsa, that kind of stuff like that?
Yeah. I've been dancing salsa since high school. My biggest claim to fame was senior year. We had a dance where, regardless of the guy and the girl or whoever it was, one had to be Latino and one had to be non-Latino. So I was dancing with a chick from Panama, and we won the salsa contest, and it was like a cash prize and everything like that. So I do know how to dance. I got taught by a Venezuelan, a good friend of mine. His name is Ricky, but he taught me how to dance salsa. And man, that brings back good memories. He taught me how to dance salsa, like in his mom's living room. And this was in high school, and they used to go to Queens. We're talking like 18, 19. So still, New York drinking age is 21, but they used to go to a club in Queens all the time, every weekend. And they kept saying, nah, you're not ready for Queens. Like you could go to the club here. There's a club here in White Plains that's called Acapulco. It used to be, it's closed now, but there's like, yo, you could go to Acapulco, but you're not ready for Queens yet. And I always felt some kind of way about that, but yeah, dancing will help you. Anywhere you could take classes, like for example, here in New York and in Stanford, there's some salsa clubs, and most clubs don't open till like, let's say they open at like 10 or 11 p.m. They usually have free lessons from like 8 to 10, and you could do 2 hours of free lessons. And if you do that, the free lessons, and then they open the club and the people come in, that's something everyone should put on their repertoire. Like Colombians dance, and it's not just reggaeton. Like, okay, reggaeton, you act like what you want to do horizontally and just do it standing up. Yeah, for the most part, that's it. You should try to learn to dance salsa. You should try to learn how to dance bachata. Those are kind of, even like the two-step salsa, that's fine. Bachata's kind of quick to learn. Cumbia is a little more difficult, and vallenato, some people say it's easy. I find it a little more difficult. But yeah, you're going to need that.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to need, even if you don't know how to dance, I mean, I think just getting out there, and I mean, don't be embarrassed. Just get out there and dance, move around a little bit. I think women still appreciate that in Colombia. So that's just been my experience. I don't know how to dance salsa. I mean, I can dance. I know the step, but I can't get past that. I can't do the spins and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the same way. It's the same way with Spanish. That effort will go a long way. Like that effort will go a very long way. Like you got to get outside of your comfort box. Like you got to get outside of your, like, I'm going to look like a fool. I'm going to sound like a fool. If you try to talk to a girl in Spanish and they're going to smile, they may correct you. Do not ever take that as disrespect. They're helping you. They appreciate you trying, and they're going to say, no, say it like this. And same thing with the dancing. That will open so many doors. There's so many, you see it, man. You see so many stiff guys in the clubs, they don't dance. And if you go out there and just put it out there and try, not only will the next girl almost say yes to you, like, it's like, I go out to a club and I try to ask someone to dance. A lot of times they'll just say no, because they'll just say no. But usually if I'm with a group of friends and one of them's a girl, I'll take her out first to dance. So one, the other women can see, okay, he knows how to dance a little bit. So now when I ask them to dance, they're not worried they're going to look completely ridiculous. But at the same time, they understand you're having a good time. You're a fun guy. And that's the same thing with the speaking Spanish. You just got to try. And I mean, I'm telling you, it goes a long way. And it's got to the point where I've gone out there and danced, and I tried to do a little spin and I went the wrong way. And then we kind of both go like, oh. But I'm telling you, you go back there, you'll be at the bar drinking with your buddies, and a girl will approach you. She'll come to you.
Yeah. So let's see. Marshawn's got a question for you. So what salsa clubs do you recommend out in Medellin?
Oh man, Marshawn. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, Marshawn from the WhatsApp group. Um, all right. Right now, man. Okay, Alto Piso is good. Mongos, Chiflados is good.
Where are they? Where are those located? Is it El Poblado or?
No, they're on the highway. They're on the highway between Itagüí and maybe Poblado.
Okay.
They're right along the highway. Like any taxi guy will know if you just say like Alto Piso. Okay, but this one is uh La Fonda de las Chismosas. Chismosas is like gossipers, people that gossip. La Fonda Chismosas. It's in Las Palmas. So it's going up the mountain. So if you know where Centro Comercial, if you know where the shopping mall San Diego is, and then you start going up Las Palmas, going back towards the airport, it's up there. I told people in the WhatsApp group, it's kind of like in between Medellin and Rio Negro, Llano Grande. That club I like because it's a different breed, man. They have Fonda Chismosas in the Jeddah somewhere in Poblado, but this one on Las Palmas, they come from families with money. They come from families with money. You're gonna see Burberry. You're gonna see Louis Vuitton bags. You're gonna see people driving Audis and Mercedes. Like, and I'm talking like women. Like, you can't just impress these women by buying a bottle. Like, I like that club for a lot of reasons. That one I like. La Fonda Chismosa, Google it. It's up on Las Palmas, going up the hill towards the airport, to Rio Negro. That's a good one. Another good one. Yeah, like I said, definitely Jesus Dios Mío. That's a good one. Cinco Bar is fine. Cinco Bar is in Poblado. Cinco Bar is where there's a casino, and it's on top of that. And they'll do like really good like mixed drinks and things like that. They infuse them with smoke. Now, in Parque Jettas, if you guys know Parque Jettas good and you know the back entrance, I always call it the back cave entrance. Everyone comes through Parque Jettas where Mondongos is, where you come up the hill and you make that right into where I was telling you where the mini mart is. There's a back entrance into Parque Jettas, and that route is called Hospital, because you're coming through the back road where there's a lot of hospitals and clinics. Pretty much, if you know the back end of Parque Jettas where there's the Harley Davidson dealership, that's the back entrance to Parque Jettas. Back there, there's a place called Waka, Woka, Waka Lounge. You got to go up the stairs like 3 or 4 flights. But what it is, it's an open air bar where if it's a nice evening, they open the ceiling. You see the stars, you see the moon. There's tables. It's a very nice lounge. Price might be double from the surrounding places in the Jettas, but Waka Lounge, different category, man. It's yeah, you're trying to impress somebody, Waka Lounge.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Any other questions? If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, and please hit the like button if you haven't done so already, so we can bring some more people in. We're having a real good discussion here just about meeting women in Colombia. We're just going to say meeting women in Colombia. I said abroad, but we've been talking all Colombia today, which is what I wanted to do because I know you have a lot of experience going to Colombia. So it's definitely a good topic, and I think there are a lot of people that are interested in I think there are a lot of people that are still afraid to go to Colombia for whatever reason, but I you putting out your information, talking about your experiences, I think will help a lot as far as going to Colombia and meeting women when you're there. So that's good. Now let's see, any other questions? All right, we don't have any questions. All right, guys, just put some questions out to Jason, so we can talk a little bit more about Colombia. So now, you told me something, and we kind of talked a little bit about, but like, say you go on Colombian Cupid, and I know we've talked about this before, but you have kind of a method of finding out a little bit more about them. So you go on Colombian Cupid, you get their information, you go over to WhatsApp, and then from that point, you have a method. So why don't you talk about that method of finding out more about the women? Just because I think we kind of talked a little bit about it, but not all the women on Colombian Cupid are looking for love, or some of them they have their ulterior motives. And so how do you find that stuff out?
Yeah. So okay. So real quick, I'm just gonna go through here. Um, this is my actual profile right now on Columbia Cupid as it is. Now, I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just saying my name is Jason. I like to dance. I like to go out to eat. I like to walk. I said I'm a very hard worker. I'm faithful. I'm loyal. I like to travel, and I'm looking to get to know other cultures and countries. Um, and then here it's also saying, I'm saying, unfortunately, this webpage. What I'm saying is, unfortunately, this webpage has gotten so full with people who think it's easy to find money here rather than find a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, pero por acá no hay papaya. And that's a Colombian saying, no, no da papaya. Don't give papaya. That means don't give money. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of. No da papaya.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is here is like, if you ask me for money, I'm just going to erase you from my contacts and that. Like, I'm just going to ghost you. I'm not even going to waste the time to respond. I said, I'm looking for a woman who's mature, who has goals in life, who's faithful, hardworking. And I said, even if for the moment your job is really to take care of the household, but make sure you have goals. And I get it. The economy's bad. There's not a lot of jobs. There's a lot of people out of work, and there are good people out there. Now, with that said, because of this, when I do get a phone number in WhatsApp, when I get a phone number on Columbia Cupid, the very first thing I do is what I want to show you guys. First of all, okay, quick side topic. Be careful that word highlighted. Detallista. That's one profile. That's another profile. Detallista. It roughly translates to retailer. It means they're looking for a guy that likes to give gifts. We had some things in the group where like detallista. What does that mean? I've seen a lot of profiles. That's what it means. It means they like to give gifts. Quick pro tip. You got to be a PI. You got to be a professional private investigator with the photos that they send, not only in WhatsApp once you get the number, but also in Columbia Cupid. Most Colombian households have the same floor tile throughout the household. When you're looking at different pictures, see if the floor tile is the same. It'll give you an idea if that's the same house or not. Look at the floor tiles. Look at pictures that are on the walls in the background. I do that a lot. One of my biggest pet peeves is this. iPhone. iPhones are marked up so high in Colombia. If you got someone who's telling you they're a student and they don't got no money and this, that, and the third, but they got an iPhone, especially with the camera horizontal, because you know that's the latest 2 models, you should be asking yourself, okay, well that's like 3-4 millones de pesos. That's like literally like 11, 12, $1,300. Like, how did you get that? Just so, you don't have to ask them that, but just keep that question in the back of your head. Another thing I do as well, implants. They're cheap compared to the US, but they still cost 2-3 millones. They cost about $1,000 in Colombia. Now, some people, their parents will give it as a gift for graduating college, things like that. One thing I always keep in mind with implants, ROI. Those are an investment. They want a return on the investment. How are they getting a return? You?
Yeah.
But let me get to what Dave was asking me. You get a number off Cupid. The very first thing I do is I go into Instagram. Once you add them to your phone book in your phone. And then go into Instagram, open your Instagram, because most people have a phone number that they link their Instagram up to. So if you go into your Instagram, after you add someone on your phone, you're going to see this. You're going to see discovered people.
Mm-hmm.
Then you scroll over and you're going to see contacts. And then these are people that have Instagram pages associated with those phone numbers. And if they're private, they're private. You can't do anything about it. But if they're open, like I'm going to show you one right now, if they're open, discovered people, contacts. This is a girl I met on Instagram a few days ago. This one right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's Stephanie. But anyway, hers is open. Now, you have a plethora of information that she doesn't know that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I in the past have talked to a female who said she didn't have kids, and her Instagram was open, and I found it through her phone number. I found her Instagram profile. I started going through some of her pictures, and one was just a selfie, nothing too revealing. It was a selfie. I clicked on the selfie, had like 12 likes, but it had a comment. One of the comment was, Julie, like, when you gonna come see your kids? I clicked on that guy's profile, and in that guy's profile, there were pictures of them together and them with kids. She had kids. She lied on her own kids. And I forget the guy's name, but I said something to her in the WhatsApp like, hey, what's up with, and I threw his name out there. She blocked and deleted me like that.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's just a good pro tip. If their phone number is registered to a Instagram account, once you get their number from Columbia Cupid, run it through the Instagram, save it to your contacts, then go through Instagram and see if they show up in your contacts. If they do, and their page is open, you can see what they're posting. You can see their Instagram posts. You can get some information as what they're doing.
Got it. Hey, so Andre has a question. Andre and Andrea love crossing borders. So he's asking, basically he wants to know, like, did you learn over time how to, I mean, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, but as far as just online dating, we talked a little bit about some of the challenges that you had, but over time, now you've gotten to a point where you pretty much have it dialed in. And how was that process? Like, how did you get to where you are? Like, when you first started doing the online stuff, how did you get from that point to where you are now?
Whew. Like most things, trial and error. I got 2 or 3 good friends that they're always down to go to Colombia. One is Colombian. It's like he's my best friend. His family is like my second family. If you ever heard me in a What's Gonna talk about my second family, they're from Itagüí, Sabaneta, Lina. We've always done the group thing. Now he had a new job, so literally the last 3 or 4 years I've been going dolo. And yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned you got to be comfortable. There's a lot of stuff listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to, listen, full transparency, I plan to move and buy a property and move to Colombia, to Medellin specifically. That's what I'm going to do. With that said, I had an Airbnb booked for a certain barrio, a certain neighborhood for March. And just looking at the news, there was too much killing. There's too much going on that I canceled that Airbnb and I booked one in Loud Ellis. What I like to do is every time I like to stay in a different neighborhood, a different barrio, because I want to get a full picture of Medellin. Nowadays, it's not that easy to do that. 3 or 4 years ago, yeah, I could go in Bejo and Nikia and here and Envigado, Sabaneta. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on, so you got to be safe first. So as far as dating goes, yeah, first date, I'm meeting in somewhere public, like very public, for not just most women appreciate that because listen, you're gonna be a gentleman, so you want to be somewhere public and safe. But now I got to do for my well-being as well, because there's a lot of chicks, they'll set you up. You gotta be smart. You can't be Andre Spence. Tell him you can't be blinded by pretty. You can't be blinded by the pretty, because they're on 8 and 9s out there. So, you know, if you just used to dealing with 4s or 5s, because you know you just may do something risky, and in the back of your head, your spidey's been saying I shouldn't be doing this, but you do it. And that's what really led me to canceling that Airbnb in March, and I'm glad I did it. There was just a lot of stuff going on in that neighborhood. I'm not gonna, well, whatever. It's Castilla. I was gonna say I wasn't gonna throw the neighborhood out there, but I don't know if anybody's thinking about booking Airbnb in Castilla. I've traveled to Colombia more than 30 times, and I pulled the plug on Castilla. I didn't like what I was seeing.
What were you seeing? What's the reason you pulled?
Well, we talked about it in what's that group? There's Prince of Paisa. That's an Instagram local news page for Medellin. Prince of Paisa. There's one called Minuto 30. That's like more of a national one, but there was somebody like literally like 2 or 3 blocks from where my Airbnb was that got like shot 11 times in a car. Once again, that goes for New York, that goes for Philly, that goes for Detroit. If you got shot 11 times, you're not a tourist. Like you were in something. You were, you know what I mean? You were. But I was. Not only that, it was really off the grid. Like I would literally have to like walk like 5 or 6 blocks to even get to where I could get a cab to kind of then get me to the metro system. So I didn't like it. But just with some of the gangs, for those who follow the Colombian news, this year has been quite deadly. It's been quite good in the past. This year's been pretty bad. There's the main thing is something called those invisible barriers, where basically that means and it happened to a Colombian national. I believe he was from Barranquilla, and he was in Medellin just on vacation, and he crossed the street, and they shot him, and that's just pretty much because these gangs are like holding really like onto their sectors, and it's like if you're not from this block, I've lived on this block my whole life. I know everyone that lives here, and all of a sudden, if they see a strange man walking on this block, they'll just shoot you, no questions asked, because you're not supposed to be there. And it wasn't always like that. So these invisible barriers, it's a real thing now. And also, it seems to be happening more in Bejo, more in the north. But once again, I kind of don't want to be putting neighborhoods under the bus, but it's happening where it's happening, where there's something called la vacuna, which is a vaccine. That just means, but it's the bribe. The buses, to operate in certain neighborhoods, they want the bus drivers to pay a fine to operate the bus in these certain neighborhoods. And if the owners don't pay, they kill the bus driver, set the bus on fire. But the stupidest thing is the person that owns the bus is not driving the bus. The person that owns the bus is somewhere in his house living very comfortably, and it's the poor schmo that's like driving the bus that gets killed. So that's why the last 3 or 4 times I stayed in just Laureles. I'm just very comfortable there.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Laureles, I stayed there the last time that I was in Colombia, and I just loved it. I stayed in El Poblado the first time I was in Medellin, and it was okay, but it was real busy. I didn't like the vibe. Was just too much action, too much stuff going on. But then when I stayed in Laureles, it was a little quieter, and it just more local crowd. So I really enjoyed that. Hey, Andre's got another question for us. And before I pose this question, I do want to give him a little shout out. So Andre and Andrea love crossing borders. They have a YouTube channel. So you guys should stop by and check it out. They talk about interracial relationship. Actually, Andre is American. He actually moved to Colombia. He's living in Cali, Colombia, with his girlfriend, Andrea, and they just talk about their life and the struggles that they have and the good, the bad, all that. So check their channel out. And let me just post a link here for them.
Yeah, 100%. They're laying the blueprint for exactly what I want. Like, listen, Andre, I'm watching their channel, the hoops they got to go through with, you know, whether or not my family accepts this and that, and then just the hoops you got to go. It's going to make it easier for me. You know what I mean? It's like, because any hiccup he has, I know I can reach out to the future, be like, Andre, did this happen? How'd you get around that? So, yeah, big ups.
Okay. And so Andre's question, or actually it's not even a question, it's a comment. So he's basically saying that check out the pictures that they take to see if they have extra shoes, pairs of shoes on the ground and stuff like that.
100%. 100%. Another thing with Columbia Cupid, same thing with Instagram. Most people on Instagram, they're not going to post a picture of like, oh, I'm just eating a big bowl of ramen because I'm kind of messed up this month. You know what I mean? They'll put the steak dinner out there on Instagram, but they're not going to put the bowl of ramen noodles. So I was talking to one chick, and she posted a picture of her in a bathroom taking a selfie. But in the bathroom, there was like a hook on the wall, and it had the little mirror that had the little where you can move it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a lot of apartments in Colombia, and I've never seen that. And I asked her, okay, I know, first of all, before I even ask the question, I know you're in a hotel. I know it. I'm just asking you where you're at. And she said it was her friend's house. All right. So I already know you lie. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, it was painfully obvious you were in a hotel. And then she posted another picture. And once again, most locals, they'll drink Club Colombia, they'll drink Aguila, which are local Colombian beers. And she had a picture where in the back on the table, there was a Corona bottle, but then in the floor, and this is why like I'm a Magnum PI, on the floor in the back of the photo, clear as day, duty-free bag on the floor. You're done. I got you. You got the duty-free bag on the floor. Like someone just came in, like someone came through. You know what I mean? Like you guys got to learn how to kind of like see these things that don't seem right.
Yeah, I got you. Got you. Okay, so we have another question here. Let's see. Jason, can you, or let's see.
I like this, Dave. I can see the question. I kind of like.
Oh, you can see the question too. I didn't even know you could do that. So basically,
yeah,
Jason, can an American guy get some love from Colombia, or from Colombia? I guess Colombian women with no Spanish. So if you can't speak English, or if you can't speak Spanish.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got. Okay. So here we go. So like I said, I've been to Bogota once or twice, and it was a long time ago, maybe like 05, 06. There's a lot of other guys in our WhatsApp group that could probably best answer that. But Bogota is the capital. There's a lot of universities there. They're going to be, I feel like they're going to be more of the college women are going to be able to speak English. All right. As far as Medellin, I'm going to remember something Andre Spence said in the WhatsApp group not too long ago. Now, this is the thing. I used to love Barranquilla. Barranquilla was home base for me. It was home ground. I ran everything out of there. I haven't been to Barranquilla in the last 4 years. I went there once, and that's because a friend of mine who lives in Florida happened to be in Medellin at the same time, and there was a soccer game, and we just met up in the daytime in Barranquilla to watch the soccer game. From what I'm hearing and seeing now, Barranquilla has completely changed. Everyone and my friends' families are saying, don't go over there, stay out of there. La Scolpamina, they're drugging people. Like one guy died because he overdosed off the Scolpamina, and if you don't know what that is, that's a whole nother hour. But
yeah, let's talk about it real quick. Just if you can give us the short version of what it is.
All right, short version is street names. It's called Devil's Breath as well. It's derived from a flower, but old school in the 80s and 90s, they say people in Medellin, they would knock on your door and you open a window and they would have this powder in their hand and they blow it in your face, and almost instantaneously you become almost zombie-like. You would lose your free will and you would do what people say. And recently what people are doing, they're putting it in drinks, and the Jettas always watch the drink regardless of where you are. But there have been numerous of stories of people that have apartments with a doorman, and once you're under this drug, which is almost like literally like 1-2 seconds, they blow it in your face or they put in your drug, they take you home. They take you to an ATM machine, and there's been videos shown on the news where the people never get out of the car, but the victim gets out of the car at various ATM machines and pulls out the maximum limit that he can pull out. They go to another ATM, pull out the maximum limit. And then once the card is done or there's no more money, they just dump them in front of their hotel. There's been time where locals have gone back to their home and they've loaded their TV, refrigerator, washing machines into a truck and then go to bed. And then the next morning or 2 days later, they wake up and wonder why they got robbed. And the doorman was like, yo, you help these people carry this stuff out of your own apartment. Wow. It's literally like one of the most dangerous, scariest things out there. And it's kind of making a little slight comeback in Barranquilla. And I don't know if he was American, but he was a foreigner and he died. Might have been a month or two ago. You could look at eltiempo.com. That's a Colombian newspaper, or elcolombiano.com. You can look it up. Look it up. Yeah, I just for that, yeah. And then not only that, and then just the whole the whole situation with the working girls, that's just not my thing. So I don't be in the jettas like that no more. And not only that, I've heard from other people that you can't even get like an Aguila or a Pilsen. They're saying like all the bars in the jettas, all they sell is Heineken and Corona. They're only selling like American or imported beers because why? They could just jack the price up and just get you for more money. It's just not my thing.
Got it. All right, we have another question. Blueface. He wants to know what's the worst situation you've been in Colombia.
Oh man,
And you're laughing, so it must not have been that bad, huh?
No. God was looking out for me, man. God was looking out for me.
Okay. All right.
This was last. I don't know if I told this story in the group or not. Damn, this is like a year ago. I went horseback riding in Copacabana, which is like half hour outside of Medellin, and 100% my fault. Good friend of mine, she's a girl. We've had like this on-off thing or whatever for years, like 6-7 years. I was blasted. I mean, I was drinking since like 2-3 in the afternoon, and we started the horseback riding. And everyone know, like, if you've done the horseback riding, the Calabagata, it involves drinking. So it's like a group of like 20 of us just on horseback going through these trails, and we're drinking. And yeah, I was drunk, and she got really upset with me, and man, she left me in Copacabana. And this is like my first time in Copacabana. I didn't know where I was. I'm tipsy out of my mind. Anyway, some guy felt sorry for me, and he like worked at the ranch, and he gave me a ride on this motorcycle like into the outskirts of Bejo. And then I caught a cab, and I got caught slipping. Like, listen, the cab drivers, they'll get you when they can. Once again, no da papaya. I was given a lot of papaya that night. I was head nodding. But I drink quite often, so I know what was going on. He tried to make it seem like I didn't pay him, and I know I did. So anyway, he snatches my cell phone out of my hand. So I asked him like 3 or 4 times, give me my cell phone back. In Spanish, give me my cell phone back. Devuélveme mi celular, por favor. Devuélveme mi celular, por favor. And then I snatch it back from him. And I'm bigger than him. Well, anyway, just happened. A cop drives by. He whistles at him. The cop comes over. And the cop has my wallet. And he's like counting my money. And I snatch my wallet back from the cop. And he's talking to the cab driver now, and I'm telling him I paid for him. He's trying to take advantage because I'm a gringo, but I'm talking like fluent Spanish, and I think they're starting to realize like, oh, this guy like speaks Spanish. Like, we're not just gonna like, he's not gonna be like an easy win over. And anyway, they gave me like a little too much room, man. And in Colombia, man, you run from the cops, they can shoot you, man. And I just took off. I took off, man. I took off bat out of hell. I'm talking my Marine Corps stuff is like kicking in, like subconsciously. I sprinted maybe a good half a block. And I was smart enough to do it the opposite way. So now the cop's in reverse, and I hear the gears cranking. And I just say, I'm not going to outrun him. So I took a dive behind a car, and it worked. He flew right past me in reverse. And I stayed there for like literally like maybe 40 minutes, like underneath a car. And finally, like, when I emerged, like, that's why I say like God was with me, man. Like, I looked up and I saw like the Superturi, like the supermarket, like from my apartment building. That's like a block away. The supermarket was like right there at the corner, and it's like I knew where I was. Like, it was crazy. Like, if I didn't know where I was, man, I don't know. It probably took me a long time to kind of like get to the house. But when I saw that supermarket, like, I had my key in my hand, and I don't think I ran that fast, but I ran towards that door with that key. And when I tell you, like, I key hold that door, like that key went straight in without missing. That was the. But once again, that was all on me, man. I was doing way
not
too much.
Recommended when you're in another country.
No.
That's not something you want to do. You want to get locked up abroad.
Yeah, that was, yeah. I told my best friend about that. I told this chick about it. She felt sorry for me. Like, her best friend called me the next morning to see if I was still alive. And yeah.
So how would you handle that now? Like, you have a cab driver who's telling you, I mean, because the way I look at it, I'd give him the extra money. I mean, it's not worth
it's not
the headache.
100% it's not. And I don't ever leave the house with more than I think I need for the day. I always have cash in the house. Like, even if, listen, if I got my credit cards and my driver's license, listen, you take all the cash I got on me, and yeah, I'll curse under my breath as I'm getting to my house, but I'm fine. Yeah, that was 100% the wrong move to do. 100% the wrong move, man. I'm glad that worked out as well as that did. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Let me post another question here. This one, let's see. All right. So David wants to know why foreign women and not U.S. women. So do you see we can kind of change the question a little bit. Do you see a difference in Colombian women versus women from the U.S.?
Yeah, the culture wise, I've dated women here in the U.S. I've dated women here in the U.S. There's some women here I've dated in the U.S. that are very family oriented. Some not so. My thing is just really a personal preference. Like, I've dated both. I've dated women here in the U.S. Okay, I've dated Black women. I've dated white women. I dated Japanese women when I was in Japan. I dated Colombian women. I had a Mexican girlfriend. Actually, the first girlfriend I was really kind of serious about was Mexican. And at that time, I was 18 and she was 15. So we were, yeah, man. It just has something to do with that 2003 trip, man. That first trip to Colombia, it's just a personal preference. So it's not neither here or there. I believe in love. I believe in happiness, and I believe in two people that can make each other happy beyond whatever, beyond words. And if that so happens tomorrow with anyone here in New York, then oh yeah, my plans would change. But yeah, as of right now, it's just a personal preference. It's just that's what it
so
is.
you're not ruling out women in the U.S. You're just in a situation where you'd like to go to Colombia, and if you met a woman in Colombia, then you settle down there. But if you met a woman in the U.S., you do the same.
Yeah, if that happened organically, if you know, I got a birthday party I'm going to this Sunday, and if I so happen to meet a Black, white, Jewish, Korean woman at this birthday party, it's a birthday party for a 1-year-old girl. But if I happen to meet someone there and we kick it off and we got a lot of things in common, and she likes to scuba dive and do this and that, oh, you know what? It might be what it is. But as I started off the show saying, right now I am actively pursuing a Colombian woman in Colombia.
Got it. Blueface has a question for you. Any tips for learning Spanish without any immersion? Like, and talk a little bit too about how you learn Spanish. And I mean, I think you kind of brought up a little bit. You have a lot of Spanish-speaking friends, but like, what's your take? Do you need immersion? Do you need to be in a country and fully engulfed in the language, or is there a situation where you think you can learn it without that?
You need the immersion 100%. It's that whole fight or flight thing. You've heard it like so many times. I mean, I think you heard it, World War II vets or whatever, shot down in Germany, this, that, and the third. Listen, with me, I started out I took French in high school. We had French, Italian, Spanish. I took French. Don't speak a lick of French. I started, when I really got serious in it, I started watching novellas. I watched soap operas under caption 3. And I don't know if that's changed, but caption 3 was, they still spoke in Spanish, but the words came on my TV in English. And I started seeing words repetitively, and it started to stick. Now, when I got back from Iraq in 2003, that's the very first time that I went to Japan. I'm sorry, when I went to Colombia. Because after I got back from the war in Iraq, that's when I told my family and my best friend's family, listen, I've been in Iraq, the most dangerous place in this world. They tried to kill me every day. I'm ready to go to Colombia. So that's the whole story about how I went to Colombia the first time in 2003. And I stayed there for 40 days, like a month and a week. And I remember day one, and I remember when I left, it was you. I mean, you hear the same words day in day out, and you just pick it up without even knowing. I'm talking. We was out there at the club drinking and stuff, and I wake up the next morning, hangover, headache, and they were like, Jason, last night you were speaking puro paisa. You were speaking like you was born here, and I was like, what? No recollection, but you know what? You get that look and you lose those inhibitions. That's what I'm saying. Don't forget about feeling and looking stupid. Just do it. That's how you're gonna learn. But Blueface, yeah, that's how I learned. Watching soap operas with the captions on, but also, yeah, spending a lot of time with my friend in my friends' houses, and you just pick up on it, man. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, for a good 2-3 years, my favorite question was like, "Cómo se llama? ¿Qué significa?" And that means like, how do you say this? What does this mean? And they would just break it down to you. And a lot of my Colombian would just say it in English. This means this. And if the word was still a little too complex, they would break it down even further. Where I was like, yo, talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And they would break it down like that. I'm like, okay, now I understand what that word means. Okay.
And so when you first started going to Colombia, what would you say your level of Spanish was? Like, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, were you like a 3, a 5, or?
I was a 3.
Okay.
I was a 3. I knew how to say hello. I knew how to ask someone's name. I knew how to ask, what do you want to do? I knew how to ask, do you want to dance? Things like that. Like very, very basic, but yeah.
Okay. Andre and Andre have another question for you. Would you take an American wife to Colombia? This is actually a good question. I never even thought about it, but I mean, you love Colombia, right?
Yeah, I do.
So would you, if you met a woman out here and she was willing, would you take her to Colombia and maybe retire there?
It would depend. I'm going to say that the percentage is under 30%. And the reason I say this is because, listen, there's some women, I've seen some YouTube channels, there's some black women that are living in Colombia teaching English. There's some white women that are living in Colombia teaching English.
Mm-hmm.
If we were on the same page, maybe. I'm just going to, you know what? I'm going to say no. Listen, Latin women in general, they have a certain passion, a certain flair about them that American women don't have. And that's the missing piece. That's the missing piece. And there could be an American woman that, I love Colombia. I love the dollar exchange rate. I love the weather. I would love to move there with you. I don't feel like I'm gonna get that whole, no, Andre, nope, ain't gonna do it.
No, do it. You're trying to weasel your way around it. Weave your way around it.
Listen, let's be.
That was a good question. That was actually a tough one.
It was a very tough question, and I got to be real to myself. I know I just turned 38 last month. I know exactly who I am and what I want, and that's neither here nor there. It's just, this is what I want for my life.
Got it. All right. So, any other questions, guys? Please put them in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, that was a good one, though.
Yeah, it was.
That one had him stumped. Had me stumped as well. Yeah. All right. So, guys, if you're in the room right now, please hit the like button so we can bring some more people in here. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. And we'll go on a little bit longer if Jason's willing to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm having fun. Yeah, let's do it. I'm just gonna step out of frame for a quick second.
Yeah, no worries. Let me get it back over to. All right, guys. Let's pull this back up here. Still getting used to this whole setup here. So anyway, yeah, if you guys are in here, please hit the like button. We want to just bring some more people in here, and looks like we have about 30 likes right now, which is great. and we're just talking mainly about Colombia. I might even do a show where we just come and talk about Colombia. I'm still trying to get my Monday show set up. Now that I have I can do interviews and stuff like that. I can bring on more people, and maybe we'll just talk about that. I mean, I actually love going to Colombia. I love Colombian women. I love just everything about Colombia that I've experienced while I was there. So I definitely like to share that with people, just because I think Colombia is one of those places that a lot of people are afraid to go to, and it's not what people think it is. Yes, they've had some tough times in the past, but I think they've gotten over that now, and it's a real good tourist destination. It's a place where you can go and you don't have to have that much money to go there. As far as like a affordable trip, you can fly out, you can go to Florida, fly to Florida, or you can just from Los Angeles, I can get to Colombia $500 or less. And if you're in Florida, you can get there for $250, $300 round trip. So really affordable. Once you get out there, there's so much there as far as so much there to do, as well as you can go to a restaurant and you're not spending that much money. You're spending $5 for a meal, $6 for a meal. So you can really do well in Colombia. Come back. Like every time I go to Colombia, one of the things I like about it is when I come back and I look at my bank account, it's like, all right, I didn't do that much damage. Whereas when I go other places, like I'll be going to Hawaii in 2 weeks. Actually, next week. Next week I'm going to Hawaii, and that's not cheap. Very expensive. So when I come home from Hawaii, I'm going to be like, I can't believe I spent all this money. But when I go to Colombia, generally, I don't spend that much money. And I have it's at the same type of a lifestyle as far as the things that I do. And if you want to go to Cartagena, you can go to Cartagena. You can go to some of these different islands, beautiful white sand beaches and all that. So just like Hawaii, there's some of the same things you can do there, but you're not spending half the amount of money that you would spend in other destinations. All right, guys. So if you guys have more questions, please put them in the chat now. So when Jason comes back, actually looks like he's back already, then we can continue here. Tell us about your jersey, Jason. Where'd you get that jersey? And what is the jersey?
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the most recent goalie jersey for David Ospina. David Ospina, he's the goalkeeper for the Colombia men's team. Yeah, most people, they'll buy either the home or the away jersey to represent Colombia. Like you see Ace, he has like the yellow one. Andre has the yellow one, the blue one. I like to wear the goalkeeper ones. It's just something different that I like to do. I do it with Atlético Nacional, which is like the local team as well. So yeah, I bought this. This was not available in the United States. I bought this in Colombia. Because as they have Adidas stores here in the US, they have Adidas stores in Colombia, but they have totally different merch and things like that.
Okay, cool. And Andre just said that he likes the answer to your question. So the question that he had, he likes your answer.
Yeah, I saw he said tell him Andrea said she likes it. Yeah. I said thank you.
Tell Andrea. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I popped over on the YouTube for a quick second, but
I need to pull the screen closer to me.
Yeah, and then I'm also looking at Mbongo Papi, who he asked what's the best hotel to stay in Medellin. Man, I it's a little bit up, 3 or 4 up. I visited Medellin more than like 30 times. I have never stayed in a hotel in Medellin, so I can't answer that, unfortunately.
So you like staying in Laureles, right? And you usually stay in the Airbnb, right?
I do. Okay, so since I've been traveling, we've been staying in. All right, so real quick, from like 2005 to like 2010, my best friend mom has a finca, which is like a farmhouse in Envigado. We've been staying there, rent free, gravy everywhere. I mean, and this place was like 3 stories, like 6 bedrooms. It was perfect. All right. So like now with my friend with the new job, no vacation, I've been having to go out there. I've been staying in Airbnbs. I stayed in 2 in Poblado. One where Centro Comercial Santa Fe is, right behind it, above the hill, walking distance, perfect. There's a Carruja right there. So sorry, a Carrefour. There was a supermarket there. I've always known Poblado is expensive, and people, well, of course it's Parque Jettas, but people have always told me too, like, oh, well, Envigado's very expensive. And when I fell in love with Laurel, it's like, oh my God, it's so flat. There's no hills. There's a whole restaurant scene, and the bars, and there's more locals, not as many tourists. And then once I started looking into real estate in Laureles, I realized that right after Poblado is Laureles. Laureles is very expensive.
Yeah. I got you.
To buy.
All right, let me see here if I can move this along. And so okay, here, so I can't see I gotta get a screen that's closer to me, but so this is Andrea here. She's saying Colombian women, that's right, I support you. So cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as far as, let's see, any other questions that you guys have that's related to like just dating in Colombia or meeting women in Colombia or just Colombia in general, please put it in the chat so we can talk about it. Now, as far as hotels and stuff, in Medellin, my experience, I haven't stayed in any hotels. And when it comes to like Airbnbs, I think that's the best option. I don't know how you feel about it, Jason, but I think that's the best option. They do have some hotels like in El Poblado, what do you call that mile? The Golden Mile.
Milla de Oro.
Yeah, but I've never stayed there. It's more of kind of like a business kind of area.
Yeah, Marshawn just mentioned, they have the Dan Carlton is along there. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. But I like the Airbnbs. It's just they're more reasonably priced, and I was very skeptical about Airbnbs, but I started staying at Airbnbs in Colombia, and I actually I like them now. So I'm kind of, I mean, there are a lot of different things you have to think about when it comes to Airbnb as far as safety and stuff, but and just how do you get the keys and all that. But everything is pretty much worked out. So if you're going with a reputable Airbnb host, like one of their super hosts or whatever they call themselves, then you usually you're going to be fine. All right, so let's see. Let's click this up here. And Ronaldo, what's going on, buddy? How's the weather in mid-July? We'll be traveling solo and plan to do a travel tour. Any recommendations? So have you done any excursions or anything like that when you're out in Colombia?
Yeah. Okay, so mid-July, first of all, that should be dry season. You should be good. Man, I was just there March through April, rainy season. Bad. I was there 18 days, rained every single day. I was there 2 years ago in November for a wedding in Llano Grande, which is by the airport, Rio Negro. It was a wedding. I had to go. Rained every day. So those are rainy seasons. July should be good. Excursions. I'm just trying to pull something up real quick. It's in my Instagram, if you guys see on my Instagram, but I'm just going to pull something real quick up in my... I went to Hacienda Nápoles. If you don't know what Hacienda Nápoles is, that's the amusement park that Pablo Escobar owned. It's the zoo. He had the hippopotamus. He had the giraffes. He had the tigers and the zebras and the gazelles. And then also there's a river that's right there in Doral, and I went whitewater rafting. That was cool. And there was 3 of us that did that. And that was maybe...
Okay.
So that's me hanging out with the hippo, ostriches, things like that.
Okay, cool.
So this is like some of the helicopters. This is the Hacienda Nápoles. That's Pablo and his brother. This is us. That's the runway. This is like the runway where they actually landed and took off from like the middle of like Colombia with the stuff to take it wherever they were taking it.
Mm.
But that was a good trip. That's us whitewater rafting. This is, it's very calm right now, but it got a little intense a little further down. And then we went into the cave. There was like these caves and things, and there was these crazy ass birds that were like crapping all over us. And I mean, it was something fun to do. And this is in between Medellin and Bogota. That's where that's
Got it.
located at.
Cool, cool.
So yeah.
All right, so go ahead,
No,
Dave.
no,
Go
no, no.
ahead,
You're good. You're good.
All right, so David has a question. How much do houses or / condos cost in Colombia? And let's just we'll talk about Medellin because I know you have some experience and you are actually in the process of trying to get you some property out there. So this is actually a good question.
So this is my folder. This is my folder where I have all my documents and things that I am trying to. This is where I've opened my bank account with Bank BBVA. This is just me, like every month. I'm just sending money down there. These are just receipts that as I send the money down there, it gets deposited into my account. But what's pretty cool is I had this prepared for last night. I had to just block out the actual number, but so there's my name.
Got it.
I opened the bank account. I got my own debit card, and I'm just every 2 weeks, like David said, I'm taking care of what bills I have, and then whatever's left over, I'm sending it down there. Now, with that being said, me and my friends, we've always stayed in like a little 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment. So right now, nice areas. Now, Medellin, they're rated from Estrato 1 through, I believe it's 6. 1 is obviously the worst, and 6 is like the best. Poblado, areas of Poblado, a lot of this might be 5 and 6. Some places of Bejo might be 2, 3, but it's just like, I guess, quality of life, whether it's supermarkets, crime, this, that, and the third, walking distance, hills. We've always stayed in 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, things like that, because we've always traveled in groups. And at first, I started looking to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. Those are going for 350 to like 400,000 millones. We're talking 110 to 120, $30,000. But then I remember the last 4 times I've been to Colombia, I stayed in a studio. I saw David. He showed his apartment in Laureles. He was in a studio. Dashawn, he was in a studio. A lot of us that's traveling alone, we've been staying in studios. So I said, you know what? Maybe I'm going about this all wrong. Instead of looking at buying a 3-bedroom, 2-bath thing that's going to cost me $100,000, why don't I, at least for my first one, why don't I just buy a studio that's going to cost 110,000 millones, $34,000? I could pay it off. I could pay it off in two years. I could pay it off in cash. I don't need a bank to loan me anything. And then that way I could start making money off Airbnb right off the rip. I don't have to, So I think that's what I'm going to do for more than one reason. One, I want to get to know the process, because once you get to know the process, it's easier to replicate it the second time. So buying a studio is going to be cheaper. I assume it should be faster. Shouldn't be that many headaches. And once again, I've been staying in studios the last couple of times, and so have a lot of guys in the WhatsApp group. So I feel like I can rent that out. That's my goal, is I can keep that calendar fuller more than I could like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which is really just limited to like group travel.
Got it. Now, if you do decide, I know you've been talking about this, moving to Colombia, getting property in Colombia. What would you do for work? And this is a question from David was asking.
All right, so I just turned 38, May 13th. I will not be living in this country when I turn 45. I will have 2 apartments in Medellin in the next 8 or so years. I have a business plan. I'll throw it out there. I'm not afraid. I've done some research into it. I've looked at a locale. A locale is a storefront. That's a locale, a storefront. I've looked at a locale. I've looked at a location in the centro. This was a year ago, so this was just roughing it. I got a notepad somewhere. It's 30 millones, $10,000 for the locale. I would sell beauty products. That's the plan. Every woman I've dated, they will not leave the house in Colombia without being done up. You see women here in the States, they'll get up and go to Walmart on a Saturday morning to go buy milk and eggs with the shit say baby fat across their ass on their sweats. You will never see that in Colombia. They will not leave the house until they're done up. I've seen it firsthand. I saw it when I lost my wallet and when I lost my ID on my birthday because I had to show my ID for my free cake, and I had to get another thing next day express mail to me, and I was like, babe, I gotta go there to get this document, and I'm ready to go. She was not leaving the house until she did her hair and everything. I've seen another woman who wasn't working, but when I tell you, in her bathroom, her spread of body lotions and body cream, they would spend their last dollar on it. And I'm telling you, I've done the numbers. I looked at some wholesalers to $10,000 for the locale, 30 millones, and then to get all the product in there. Yeah, it's absolutely, it's a moneymaker all day long. You sell the stuff for the hair and the face and the this and the that. Yeah, I will open a little shop and just sell beauty products to women, because that would just, I just know how the Colombian women are. They'll spend their last dollar on it.
Got it. Sugar Skull has a question for you. He's basically, or has a statement really. He's saying he should be a tour guide. 100%. Without a doubt, he should be a tour guide.
Yo, Jorge, George, man, I appreciate that, George, man. I've had other people say that to me, and sometimes I joke and say, you know what, I could be a guide, but not really. I've never done a Comuna Thursday thing. I've never done that. Now, also, I dated a chick that lived in San Javier, which is crazy because, like, last year when I was there, she said, yo, Jay, you can't even come up here no more. One, again, because of the invisible barriers. I used to always go up to San Javier, like where the Metro Cable is, and she's like, you can't even come up here no more. Like, the cops don't even come up here no more. There's gunshots every night. And it wasn't like that. I used to stay there. Yeah, this is the crazy thing. Is like I haven't done any tourist things. I've never been to the zoo in Medellin. I haven't been to the aquarium in Medellin. Yeah, I did the Metro Cable thing. I went to Parque RV. Parque RV is really nice. Yeah, I haven't been to Comuna Thursday. I haven't did a graffiti tour. I just really like to kind of just get down and dirty with the locals, man. I want to see what they're doing, and it just sucks that I really almost can't do that anymore, because you really can't. It's hard to get into these local areas because crime just seems to be a little bad this year. But yeah, George, man, I appreciate you, man. And listen, I ain't never been to Pereira, but I know you out there in like T-minus 48 days. So show me something.
Got it. All right. So do you have any last words, and you want to anything to plug? I know you have your Instagram. We have that. We've been showing that all day. Paisagringo.
Yeah,
Paisagringo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I see it's up there. Yeah, and that's just, like I said, I don't have a Facebook. I don't have a YouTube channel. That may be something I may be open into the future, and maybe kind of like what Dave's doing a live stream. He's brought it to my attention. Like, hey, maybe you just do live streams and just kind of like what we're doing now. Like, I just do a live stream and get on, and if people have questions they want to know, you can ask me a question. So I'm considering starting a YouTube channel. Any words of encouragement would be appreciated. But yeah, right now I got the Instagram. So if you have a question, you could DM me and just ask me a question, or if you want to follow, show some support, I'll follow back, and that's pretty much it. I just appreciate Dave for having me on as always.
Yeah, man, I'm just I'm grateful that you came on, that you came back on, I should say, since yesterday we were trying to get it going. But yeah, I definitely think you need a YouTube channel, just because you have a lot of knowledge when it comes to Colombia, and you can share that knowledge with the world, and really get that out there. So you don't really even need to be a tour guide. You can be a tour guide on a YouTube channel,
Virtual.
in a sense. Yeah, there you go, virtual. But yeah, I'm glad you came on, and I really appreciate the fact that that you took some time out to talk with us. And we're gonna get going because I know it's getting real late over on the East Coast. So yeah, I'm just glad you came on. Any final parting words for Jason? Just put it in the chat right now. Maybe I can post a few. Are you able to see the chat right now? Did you have a?
Yeah, I'm. In order for me to really look at it, I gotta pop back into the YouTube page, which is muted because there's like a slight delay. But yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay.
I'm seeing quite a lot come through.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Andre.
man. Like I
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, George, appreciate you.
Yeah, we had a lot of people from our WhatsApp group jump in, which is great. I really appreciate that. And I just found out Sugar Skull was George because I didn't know it was. I didn't know who Sugar Skull was. Yeah, so that's cool. But yeah, man, definitely, I appreciate you coming by, and we're going to be doing some more stuff together, definitely. And I said definitely too many times, but anyway, we're going to be doing some stuff together, and I'm hoping that he gets a YouTube channel. So if he does get one, then we'll get him all set up and start getting him all these subscribers and everything. But yeah, everybody's saying great show, and thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, as of right now, my as we've talked, yeah, my next trip to Medellin will be the first week of October. I think David's gonna meet me out there. I look very forward to linking up with him out there on the ground, and yeah, I think once I buy some equipment, just get some ideas from him how to do this channel, either late this year or early next year. Yeah, maybe we're gonna start something, but. Yeah,
I think it would be a good thing, man, and I'm sure there are a lot of people in the room that would be interested in you having a channel. So I definitely hope you strongly consider moving forward with that. But anyway, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys all for stopping by. I think this was a success, thank God, because yesterday was not one of my better live streams. So today I think we made up for it. And like I said, we'll be getting Jason back on here, and we'll talk a little bit more about we can talk just Colombia in general, some more knowledge when it comes to that. So thanks for stopping by. I will talk to you guys. I'll actually be on next Saturday, or this coming up Saturday. We'll be talking about travel credit cards. So if you guys are interested in travel, and actually I'll bring Jason on to talk about travel credit cards too, because he actually just jumped in the game. But yeah, so if you guys are interested in travel credit cards and how to get places affordably, and use points and fly to different destinations. I know I was just talking with Jason a couple days ago just about booking a flight to Colombia because he's going in October. I'm going in October as well, and we were just talking about points and how we can manage to use our points to fly without paying cash. So just something to think about. So we'll do that on Saturday, and then next Monday we'll have another show. So thanks for stopping by again, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks again, Jason.
All right, no problem. Later, guys.